Everyone, welcome back. My name is Matt Ditchin, and we are back with the Daily 304 and Commerce Communications here live at Virginia Innovation Week on Wednesday, Competition Day. And our next guest is James Carnes, one of the co-founders of Iconic Air. James, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, happy to be here. Excited to chat.
Yeah. So I want to get started kind of talking about where you got started. When you were up at WVU, did you ever think that you and Kyle would kind of start and own a business that has gotten as big as it did?
Yeah, it's a good question. Kyle and I, when we first started, we actually each had our own businesses before Iconic. I had a cell phone repair business. I was kind of like the phone doctor around campus. And then Kyle had like a clothing brand and also like a small YouTube channel and some stuff he was working on. And we joined forces with Iconic and kind of blended everything together and started just solving problems. And yeah, I don't think at first maybe we would have thought it kind of would have happened as fast as it did. But yeah, we've always just kind of stayed at it, and now we just passed our 5-year anniversary.
Wow.
Kind of like a wedding anniversary kind of, it's like the longest relationship either of us have ever been in. So yeah, we've been building for 5 years, and have had a lot of good successes so far, but really feel like we're just getting started in our journey and still really just focused on growing the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you've already had some big wins, even though you're only 5 years in, like military contracts, being named Forbes list under 30, and talk a little bit about what are some of the resources, support, and tools that you all had from the state that kind of helped you elevate your business and continue to grow.
Yeah, I think that like my passion for West Virginia entrepreneurs and founders is that 0 to 1 phase. And I think that is where the state has a lot of resources right now, but we can continue to double down and really add a lot more to the ecosystem to help founders in that kind of 0 to 1 as they're starting their business. For us, we used every single possible resource, whether it was matching funds for the SBIR grant that we got that you mentioned, working with Vantage Ventures. Our earliest days, we were just students working at the Launch Lab at WVU. So literally every possible resource in the state of West Virginia, I feel like we used and helped to grow the business. And it really set us up to honestly just take that bet on ourselves when we graduated of like, hey, let's turn down full-time engineering jobs and just go all in. Without a lot of that capital and support system from all those different groups, I don't know if we maybe would have taken that risk. Because we kind of were like, we had 100 grand in the bank when we graduated, and we were like, hey, that's enough to just like pay for expenses in Morgantown and live and try to build. And then we just we're like, hey, let's see where we can get after a year. Then that happened to be the same year we got the Forbes thing. We got our first investors in the company, and all that happened kind of right after that. And so without that support system and groups, I don't know if we would have been able to ever really have made that jump post-graduation to really just go all in on the company.
Yeah, and like it was a big jump, and I'm sure it's a very risky thing. And so talk a little bit about what inspired you guys to kind of give back, because you're here now as like a coach, kind of mentoring these younger kids. What inspired you to kind of keep on giving back in that sense?
I think that the hardest thing anyone can face on their entrepreneurial journey, especially when you're a student founder, like I have such a soft spot for student founders because that was our journey, right? I think people have a really hard time making that switch in general when you're a student, of going from a student, getting a real job, having real life, real expenses, and life kind of hits you, whether you've got student loans, rent, whatever. It's hard to just do in general, but it's even harder to do as an entrepreneur, right? And especially a student entrepreneur. And so I have always been very much focused on finding those students who have that scrappy mindset, that passion to build, and helping get them into the ecosystem and get the right people around them, so that when the time comes and they graduate or they finish their MBA or anything like that with school, they can make that jump and go all in. And so that's really the sweet spot that I try to focus on, is find those young scrappy builders in West Virginia. The guys at Bright are a great example of that. It's just one of the groups that I work with who are just figuring it out. They're still in school. They've won $50K non-dilutive funding. They'll probably win some more here today, hopefully. And it's enough for them to all say, hey, we turned down our internships last year. We're going to go all in on our company post-graduation. And I think we just need 30 more of those groups of kids, right, to take those bets and really try to build companies in West Virginia.
Yeah, and talking about having more kids, this year we also have, in addition to Ignite, we have Spark West Virginia, which is targeted more for middle school and high school kids. And talk about if you were able to kind of get started, had those resources in middle school and high school, what would that look like for you? Or more so about the kids now, like how important is that for them to have those resources younger now, so then they can grow for a lot longer?
I think the sooner you can get into the education system and capture these kids' minds at middle school, high school, the sooner we're going to see real change happen in the state. I think a lot of these kids are smart, they're hardworking, they have, West Virginia has this blue collar, scrappy mindset, which is an amazing skill set and mind to have, and kind of a framework to work from. but they just don't know what they don't know. You know, a lot of these kids don't know you can build a tech company or you can do these things because they just don't have people in their life or local communities that have really been able to do it or have seen that. And so I think that's like the biggest thing we can do is just show these young kids, the next generation, hey, there's people in their 20s and 30s, in college even, that are working and starting tech companies and really making an impact. And just getting their mind to start thinking about it instead of waiting until they're in college and then it's like junior, senior year and you're kind of like have to either take a job post-graduation or try to start a company. Like just get them thinking about it even sooner so that as they're going through college and maybe they're a freshman or sophomore, they're already thinking about starting a company. And I think that just helps like create a much stronger ecosystem. I think Spark's doing a great job of capturing that group of students and just trying to like get them thinking about building a business and starting a company and all the things that really matter to help change the culture.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time, James, but thank you so much for being here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what all comes out today, all those kids who win of all age groups. So thank you for your time, and also thank you for giving back to your community, too. So.
Absolutely. Always happy to. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be right back with our next guest, so stay tuned.